I absolutely love the original Alan Wake. It delivered an inviting world with an intoxicating story, good characters, great main lead, and simple yet compelling gameplay. The setup to the narrative was an interesting one, with Alan Wake being a writer and not remembering a week, and having a horror story that he did not remember writing come alive in front of him, all while he is trying to find his missing wife. Alan does not start as a likable character. He is the very definition of a reluctant hero. He is selfish and has a lot of misdirected emotion. Over the course of the story, we see his best qualities come out as he searches for his wife. We see him grow into a likable hero that we want to root for as he continues to do good along the way to find Alice. Alan is a big reason why I think this game works so well from a narrative perspective. He is what holds everything together. We get attached to his quest, his flaws, and growth. So when the game starts moving into more ambiguous and supernatural ways, we have him as our center. The great side characters help to flesh out this world and make Bright Falls feel lived in and real. Barry is our comic relief and always backs up Alan. Sarah grows into another supportive character who I really liked as well. Pat Maine is one of the best aspects of Alan Wake. He is the guy you hear on the radio throughout the levels, commenting on everything going on and providing insight on the town and its history. The writing is great for him, but what really sells this is the voice actor. It is the perfect voice for radio, and I honestly could listen to him narrate anything.
Stephen King once wrote that nightmares exist outside of logic, and there's little fun to be had in explanations. They're antithetical to the poetry of fear. In a horror story, the victim keeps asking why, but there can be no explanation, and there shouldn't be one. The unanswered mystery is what stays with us the longest, and it's what we'll remember in the end. My name is Alan Wake. I'm a writer.
Now this wouldn't be much of a video game without the interactive portion, and when it comes to the gameplay, it's the expected quality from Remedy. Alan Wake uses an interesting light and dark mechanic to provide a simple yet compelling spin on the third-person shooting. While there is a limited arsenal to use, there are some cool highlights like the flare gun being the equivalent of a rocket launcher, and flashbangs being a great way to clear a room. I could go on for hours about how much I love this game. I rarely get excited over new game announcements now, but when it was announced that we were getting an Alan Wake 2 and a remaster of the original Alan Wake, I was over the moon. Alan Wake was the definition of a cult classic that slowly grew its audience over time, and it is something special. Now I hope that Alan Wake 2 can deliver and provide a proper conclusion to the story, and the remaster was a nice surprise as it would allow for a new audience to play this game. I spent some time with the remaster, and outside of some minor things like Alan's face being a bit too plastic at times, it was pretty much the same experience as the original. But I noticed something odd about all of these announcements. There was no mention of American Nightmare. This was the half-sequel spin-off that was initially released on the Xbox Live Arcade. This is a great game that provides a lot of value at a budget price, along with improving in some of the flawed areas of the first game, like providing more weapons and enemy variety. I am a bit concerned that Remedy is not going to remaster this title like the first, and I wanted to make a video to show how awesome American Nightmare is, and that it's very important to the Alan Wake universe. Remedy, if you're watching, don't forget about this delightful title. Let's start out with the basics. The bulk of American Nightmare's gameplay is centered around the combat. The light and dark mechanics return, with each enemy having a darkness shield around them that you need to burn away before you can damage them with a firearm. This simple mechanic creates interesting situations of needing to use your light sources, either from your flashlight or the environment, to weaken your foes. There's some nice touches like being able to focus your flashlight more to burn the darkness quicker, along with stunning an enemy. This can be really useful when up against many foes. As defense, you can use your dodge, and when you pull one off, the game will zoom in and use slow motion to highlight the victory. Flares can be dropped to give you some breathing room, and Alan will tilt his head in the direction where an enemy is trying to flank you from. One big thing that American Nightmare improves on from the first is the weapon variety. You get to use everything from a variety of rifles, shotguns, handguns, a crossbow, nail gun, and much more. There's a lot of options, so you can find a loadout that fits your playstyle. The shooting feels great with good sound and impact effects. The narrative in American Nightmare is centered around you being stuck in a time loop, and you need to find a way to break it. You are stuck in an episode of Night Springs, Alan Wake's version of the Twilight Zone. It is even narrated by the same guy from the in-game show. The manuscript pages return as they provide you with different perspectives on prior events, along with helping to fill in the gaps between this game and the first. The cast is very small compared to the first, with some decent side characters here, and what I did like is how you can have optional conversations with each of them. But the true standout in this is Mr. Scratch. He is Alan's doppelganger, and both the actor and voice actor really ham up the character. He is a mixture of campy and scary in each one of his videos. Most of Alan's interactions with him are through various TVs you will find. Mr. Scratch is a great foil to Alan and a compelling villain. Again, like the first, there is a variety of means to deliver the story, through manuscript pages, live action, and in-game cutscenes. All of this keeps the delivery of the narrative engaging. I really enjoyed the voiceover at the start of each level as well.
The fate of countless individuals hangs in the balance, threatened by the machinations of the Herald of Darkness. And yet, for a moment, the Champion of Light breathes a little easier. He has saved one life. For this moment, it is enough. And soon, perhaps, he can put an end to this.
Now, with this being a time loop game, you will be replaying each area 3 times. The first time in each level will be your longest, as there's some enjoyable exploration involved in each. You will always know where your main objective is, but you can opt to explore the levels from manuscript pages. And while they provide you with more story, the more you collect, the more guns you will unlock as well. This really lets you take in each of the unique locations, fight enemies, and collect more pages. To lower the tedium of completing the same stages again, new areas might open up on the levels, or things you might need to do are already done for you, so that you can quickly get back into the action. For example, you need to collect a set of parts in the first area, and by the third time, your ally has collected them all for you, and you can quickly move on to the action. Along with this, new enemies are introduced throughout the campaign, and this is another notable improvement from the first. You have regular foes from the first game, but now you have enemies that will turn into crows, some that will multiply if you hit them with light, along with grenadiers that can even kill some of the enemies for you. All of the new enemy types help to keep the action varied and interesting. New to Alan Wake is the Fight Till Dawn mode. This is essentially Alan Wake's version of a horde mode. It is all based on surviving and increasing your score. Dodging was always rewarding in the base game, but here it significantly increases your score, incentivizing you to be in the thick of the action and react appropriately. The first time you enter a horde level, you will spend much of your time trying to get your bearings, and find out where all of the items and weapons are. This mode allows for some quick action, or something that you could enjoy for hours. It presents the improved combat very well, and I always found myself going back for more. I really hope Remedy brings back this mode in Alan Wake 2, as I think it adds a lot of value and could be even better with a 2-player option. Alan Wake's American Nightmare is a great standalone title that acts as both a semi-sequel and spin-off to the first game. From a story perspective, we get to see what Alan has been up to since the end of Alan Wake 1, and it is great seeing him as this character who has grown a lot from his journey in the first game. The game does an effective job at teasing the player with the answers they want from the first and helps to keep you hooked. The story is not as deep as the first here, but I like what Remedy was able to do in a smaller title. The time loop setting is really good, and honestly I think they should explore this more with a bigger budget. Maybe they will use this as a sequence in the upcoming Alan Wake 2. American Nightmare reminds us why the gameplay was so good from the first, and refines it further. The added weapons and enemy types greatly improves the variety and encounters in this title. Being a big fan of the first, I was thrilled when American Nightmare was announced, and now with Alan Wake coming back, I really hope that this title does not get forgotten. I honestly think this would make for a good remaster to release later in 2022 or early in 2023. It can be used to help create more buzz for Alan Wake 2. Before we had any hope of a sequel, I would replay both the original and American Nightmare several times. I know that I'm a bit biased, but I love these games, and I would like more people to have the opportunity to play this title. So as a fan, I hope Remedy brings this back as well. If you're in the same boat as me, leave a like and a comment about what you like about Alan Wake, and if you'd like to see American Nightmare remastered. If you're interested in being notified of new videos, please hit the subscribe button and bell. And if you would like to support the channel and get early access access to content, please check out my Patreon. All of the links will be at the end of this video and within the description, and thank you very much for watching.